Yo, what's up, Superfit fam? If you can't tell, today we're going to be working on 90-degree handstand push-ups. Probably one of my most favorite exercises. I'm going to teach you guys the whole entire 9 yards on how to learn that exercise. Let's get it. All right, Superfit fam, before we get started on a 90-degree handstand push-up, there are a few prerequisites we're gonna need. Now, you should already be working on your handstands. If you're already working on handstands and you can hold it for more than 3 to 5 seconds, you're safe to start doing this. You should already be able to do more than 15 to 20 push-ups. And then besides that, you should already be doing some general core training. If you can already do a lot of that, then you're good to go, okay? I'm gonna show you guys all the exercises to build up to that 90-degree handstand push-up. Now, let's talk about things you will need. Now, me personally, I wear wrist straps. If you see, I got these wrist straps on. They're by Bar Stars. I love Bar Stars. They support me heavily. You don't have to wear wrist straps if your wrists are super healthy and you don't deal with a lot of wrist problems. I'm constantly on my hands, so I feel the need that I need them more. Now, outside of that, besides the wrist straps, we're not using any equipment today. No equipment. This is like in your house, by yourself, no rubber bands, no nothing. How are we gonna get this skill? The only thing we're probably gonna be using today is a wall. Now, if you want, I use parallettes. Again, this is mainly for my wrists because I have really, really bad wrists. Now, if you're doing this on the floor, there is a hand turning technique. I will talk about that in a second. I might be able to show one good 90-degree handstand push-up on the ground to show you guys the technique for fixing your hands in the 90-degree handstand push-up. When I first started training 90-degree handstand push-ups, I could not grasp that hand turning concept. So I'll cover that a little bit as much as I can, as much as my wrists persist. As much as my wrists allow me to, okay? All right, let's get to it. To make this as simple as possible, we're gonna break down the 90-degree handstand into 3 different parts, okay? The first part is gonna be the handstand. So we have to be able to hold the handstand in order to do a 90-degree handstand push-up. Not too hard, okay? And I'll go over some exercise that we can do to increase our handstand strength. Or you can check out some of my other videos to help you in your handstand journey. After that, we're gonna require a handstand push-up. Currently, I haven't made any videos on handstand push-ups, so be on the lookout for that. But I'm gonna show you guys a couple exercises in order to increase your handstand push-up strength, in order to get, and also how to get those handstand push-ups away from the wall, okay? Then after that, we're also gonna need a bent arm planche. Now, a bent arm planche is a really tough exercise, but I'm gonna show you guys some exercise to be able to get that bent arm planche. So again, we're gonna need 3 different skills that we're gonna have to work on. We're gonna have to work on the handstand push-up, and then the bent arm planche. Now, once we have all 3 of those, we're gonna kind of need the glue that holds everything together, which is gonna be the transition. Now, the transition in going from the bent arm planche into the handstand is gonna be probably the biggest part because we have to maintain our balance all throughout that. And towards the end of this video, I'll talk about a few exercises that we can utilize to try to link everything that we've learned, how to link it all together into one skill. All right, guys, let's get to it. All right, so the first thing we're gonna be working on is the handstand. So one of my favorite exercises for handstands is gonna be the L-kick handstand. Now, this is one of the main ways that I think everybody should learn how to get into a handstand. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna put 1 foot forward, 1 foot back. We're gonna keep our arms really strong. This is gonna be just a re-emphasis on just getting our handstand, okay? So I'm gonna reach down to the parallettes. I'm gonna try to keep my legs apart while I do this, okay? So my arms are up, I'm gonna reach, kick, and squeeze. Every time I do that, I'm gonna try to hover for a little bit. Notice I had some hang time there, okay? This is really just to get used to shifting our weight from back to front, okay? This is just gonna re-emphasize our balance through different things going on with our legs, okay? So I'm gonna do it one more time, so arms here, and one more time. And a better one, okay? Remember to breathe. That's gonna be very, 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 very important, okay? Now that's a really, really basic exercise. You should be aiming to hold that for at least 10 seconds, okay? If you can start holding that for more than 10 seconds, you're good on handstands, okay? All right, now the next exercise we're gonna get into is a spider handstand, okay? But if you've seen any of my other handstand videos, then you would know that spider handstands are probably one of my #1 favorite exercises. But today we're gonna change it just slightly. So I'm gonna be using my parallettes, of course. So a spider handstand is a belly to the wall handstand. So typically, I'll tell people to hold it like this. We're here and we're just holding for time, trying to increase our maximal hold time. But for 90-degree handstand push-ups, we're gonna do something slightly different. We're gonna do a spider handstand, but at an angle. What this is gonna do is make us keep our core tight, okay? This is gonna be really important for the next part of this 90-degree handstand push-up, because you don't wanna have an archy back and you don't wanna have your butt out like that. We can actually bring it down a little bit more. Arms by ears, pushing strong. Core is nice and tight. Whew, that burns a little bit. I actually burnt my core, burnt my butt a little bit. You gotta engage your whole entire body and keep your body tight. That's gonna help so much with the transition when we go from that bent arm planche up into the handstand on learning how to keep our body tight, okay? There are some other exercises that we can do, but let's keep it simple today. Those are the two exercises that are gonna help you with that handstand portion, okay? Next exercise. All right, so the next part we're gonna get into is the handstand push-up portion. So there's a couple ways to get better at handstand push-ups. The number one way is gonna be pike push-ups. So I'm gonna show that real quick. So I'm gonna grab onto my parallettes. Remember, you can do this on floor as well. So I'm gonna put my hips up in the air as if I'm doing downward facing dog. From here, I'm gonna go down into a push-up, but my head is gonna come in front of my hands, almost to the point that I'm on my tippy toes, and then I'm gonna push away back to my ears. Just like this, okay? If those are really easy for you, we're gonna take it a step up. We're just gonna use a chair, put our feet on top of the chair. Same exact thing, my hips are up in the air. I'm gonna come down in front of my hands and then push. If your feet come off the chair a little bit, that's okay. What do I mean by that? If your feet come off the chair like that, that's actually really, really good. Means you already have a good general baseline of balance, okay? Your goal is to try to be able to do more than 5 reps of that. Now, if you can do more than 5 reps of that, we're gonna take it up one more notch. We're gonna do handstand push-ups against the wall. So of course, I'm here. I would like for you to still keep that angle. So if you were doing the spider handstands before, remember we keep our body really tight. My head is gonna come in front of my hands from here, and then I'll push up. Come down, push up. Come down, push up. Okay, just like that, okay? You wanna be able to, like I said, be able to do more than 5 reps of that before we try to progress on. Once you can do 5 reps of that against the wall, you're pretty much very close to doing handstand push-ups by yourself. The only problem that you're probably having is a balance issue. And I would say to work on the spider handstand to try to re-engage that balance, or keep doing the pike push-ups with your feet on top of something and try to get your feet up every now and then. That will tremendously help with gaining some of that balance. I'm a little out of breath. That was actually a little tiring. Let's get to that next exercise though. We're gonna be getting into the bent arm planche now, okay? So for the bent arm planche, number one exercise that I would say helps tremendously, if we had to start off small, I would say would be a tucked frog stand with bent arms, okay? So I'm gonna sit like a puppy, so my hands are in between my legs. I'm gonna take my elbows, I'm gonna push them into my knees. I'm gonna keep my arms bent, and I'm gonna just go here and just learn how to balance. Once that's pretty easy, we can take our knees off and hold a bent arm tuck planche. Now, your goal before you progress, you should be able to hold the progression for at least 10 seconds. So I should at least have a 10-second frog stand before I move to a bent arm tucked planche, okay? Now, once you have the bent arm tucked planche, we can start making it a little bit more difficult. So I'm here. I'm gonna go into a push-up position. So I'm gonna come down. From here, I'm gonna start to tiptoe my feet a little bit forward, okay? Until I feel like most of my strength or most of the resistance that I'm feeling is on my hands and not on my feet. As you start getting better at that, you'll slowly be able to take your feet off the ground, okay? So what I mean by that, I go down into my push-up, my chest is not touching the ground. I'm gonna start to lean a little bit more forward, and then I can lift one leg off the ground and switch, until I get a hold. Whew, that wasted a lot of energy. Like I said, you wanna be able to hold that for at least 10 seconds, or at least go through 10 feet switches. If that's still too tough for you and you're not getting anywhere near that bent arm planche, what you can do is actually bring your feet up to the sky or bend your knees, that's gonna cut the amount of strength that you need. So what do I mean by that? So actually, I'm gonna start on my knees on this one. I'm gonna go down into a push-up, just like this, and start to lean a little forward and try to get my knees up that way, okay? So that's gonna be a really, really good way just to start working on that skill. If you already have your bent arm tuck planche and you already have your frog stand, okay? And then you can start going through those motions. Also, I'm gonna give one bonus exercise. This helps tremendously, would be the pseudo planche push-up. So if you've ever seen any planche videos, pseudo planche push-ups just means that we're gonna go into a push-up position. We're gonna lean a little bit forward that my hands are closer to my hips or my shoulders are past my hands. I'm gonna come down into this push-up. My hands are by my hips. And then I'm gonna push up just like that, okay? If you get really, really good at pseudo planche push-ups, you'll actually be able to push up, and at the bottom of the push-up, your feet should come off the ground if you're leaning enough. The name of the game is gonna be how far can you lean forward without falling. So what I mean by that, so I go into pseudo planche push-up. So notice I'm doing my pseudo planche push-ups, just like that. Now when I come down, feet up. Feet up, and you can see that I'm like kind of like teeter-tottering, okay? That's another way that you guys can learn how to do the bent arm planche. The bent arm planche hold, okay? I hope those three exercises help you guys with your bent arm planche. But now it's time to move on to the final segment. How do we combine everything that we learned from the bent arm planche into the handstand push-up, into the handstand? All right, guys, let's go. All right, guys, so now we're trying to wrap everything up now. We're trying to combine everything that we learned. So now it's about the transition in from the bent arm planche up into the 90-degree handstand into the push-up. Now, I'm gonna start off with an easier exercise first and then show some progressively harder exercises. So the first one I'm gonna show you guys, we're gonna be here on my parallettes. We're gonna go into a bent arm planche with our feet on the ground, so pseudo planche push-up. So first exercise is gonna be here. We're gonna start in our bent arm planche with our feet on ground. Then from here, we're gonna push into downward facing dog. So we're gonna go back down and in, and then push away, just like that. Now that general motion right there is the exact motion that we're gonna use when we actually go into the 90-degree handstand push-up. Now, if that's a little bit too easy for you, what you can do, and when I mean easy, that you can pump out more than 5 reps. I always say it's easy if you can hold it more than 10 seconds or if you can pump out more than 5 solid reps. Okay, so now if we want to make this a little bit harder, what we can do, we're gonna start over here with our feet on the wall. I'm gonna go down into my 90-degree hold, so with my feet still on the floor, so it's assisted. So I'm here, I'm gonna come down, and as I push away, I'm gonna start to walk my hands on the wall, pushing back up to here, okay? Which is our spider handstand, which we were doing earlier. Now I'm gonna walk back down, my head's gonna come in front of my hands, and I'm gonna go back down into my 90-degree hold with my feet on the ground. Again, I'm gonna show that one more time. We start to push away, we're walking up the wall, we keep our body nice and tight, pressure on our hands, push, 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 nice tight core, squeeze, push away, lock up everything, and then come back down, try to get your head in front of your hands, just like that. And that'll be the hardest way of doing that exercise, okay? That one's really, really, really tough. And then the last way that you can start working on this skill, but you're gonna already kind of need the 90-degree handstand push-up. If you're only at 1 rep, what you can do is you can start doing negatives. Now, I would always say negatives are your last progression before you get the skill, okay? So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna start in a handstand, and I'm gonna try to come down as slowly as I can into the 90-degree hold, okay? Even if your feet touch the ground. So it should start like this. I'm gonna kick up, and then from here, I'm gonna slowly come down into handstand push-up, start to lean forward, and down. And then I'll repeat that again. So again, I kick up, I squeeze, I start to come down into handstand push-up, I start to lean forward, and down. And there you go, that's a negative, okay? Now that's really, 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 really tough. Before we get out of here, I know I did promise you guys I would show what it's like on the ground. So when we start on the ground, the only thing that's different is that whenever we're in a bent arm planche, arms are gonna be to the side like this. So hands are gonna be this way. And then as we push, we're gonna twist, okay? So it doesn't matter if we're doing it on the ground. So if I'm here, hands sideways, as I start to push, my hands turn. As I come down, my hands turn in, okay? Now, if we do it on floor, it's gonna be the exact same thing. I don't know if I have the energy to do it right now. Should I try one? Yeah, I should try one. I'm gonna try one. All right, my camera cut out right when I was trying to do that 90-degree handstand on floor. It looked really horrible, so I get a second chance at it. All right, let's go. So, like I said, you have to turn your hands when you're going into this. So I'm gonna start with my hands sideways in the bent arm planche and try to turn them as I come up. Should have a lot more energy for this right now, so let's go. So I'm gonna go from here, hands sideways. As I start to push up, you'll see my hands turn. And hands turn back, just like that. And that's a 90-degree handstand push-up on ground, just like that, okay guys? All right, Superfit fam, I hope that really helped you guys out on your 90-degree handstand push-up journey. I'm really tired, that really got my shoulders working. If you have any questions or concerns, leave it down in the comments below, and keep checking out some more of my YouTube videos as I'm on my journey to become one of the best trainers in the world. All right guys, till next time, let's get it.